Today we're taking a look at these WNBA matches: Indiana Fever vs Seattle Storm, Minnesota Lynx vs Chicago Sky, and Las Vegas Aces vs New York Liberty, which are happening on Tuesday, June 15, 2021, and giving you match breakdowns, betting tips and predictions in general on these games. Welcome back to High Stakes. Let's get straight into it. Also, don't forget to subscribe to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos. And if you would like more betting tips and predictions, then check out our Patreon in the link down below. Our new Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. 5 plans are available for each and every one of you. You can get 30 extra betting picks all the way up to 270 extra betting picks per month. Stop wasting hours and hours of your time searching the internet for some fake betting predictions and losing your money because of it. Join High Stakes Patreon now and get the best betting picks and advices instantly. Seattle is heading to the game here after getting a blowout win over Connecticut. The win came with a final score of 89-66. After getting the win, the Storm moved to a 10-2 record on the year overall. The Indiana Fever have had all kinds of issues this season, and coming into this game they sit with a 1-11 record, which puts them in last place in the WNBA. The Indiana Fever's offense has been a big issue, but an even bigger issue has been the defense. In 2 of the last 3 games, Indiana has given up at least 92 points. On the season, the Indiana Fever are averaging 75.2 points per game, while their defense is giving up 89.3 points per game. Kelsey Mitchell comes into this game averaging 15.1 points while shooting 40.6% from the field. There are 3 different players who are averaging at least 10 points per game. This season, the Storm have managed to get a total of 89.1 points per game scored. The passing for the Storms is getting good with 22.6 assists per game. When it comes to rebounding, the Storm have pulled down a total of 37 boards per game. Indiana is coming here after losing in their last game. The loss was typical for Indiana on the year, but this loss was to the Sky by a score of 83-79. The loss ended up dropping the Fever to a 1-11 record on the year overall. On the season, the Seattle Storm sit with a 10-2 record, which puts them in first place in the WNBA. The Seattle Storm's offense is elite, and their defense has been better as of late. In the last game against the Connecticut Sun, the Storm were able to win 89-66. Scoring for Indiana is sitting at 75.2 points per game on the year. The rebounding for Indiana is sitting at 35.3 boards per game. When it comes to passing, the Fever have managed to get only 17.7 assists per game. My betting advice for that game is to pick Seattle Storm -13. The Sky are coming here after getting a nice win in their last game. Chicago ended up winning in the last game over the Fever by a score of 83-79. The win moved the Chicago team to a 4-7 record on the year overall. In this game it will be a battle, but the Lynx are coming into the game with a lot better offensive players, but also a more consistent shooting team. Look for those 2 factors to help guide Minnesota to the win in this game here. Kahleah Copper is coming in shooting at a clip of 40% on the year with 14.2 points per game. Courtney Vandersloot is coming in with 7.7 assists per game. Astau Endor-Fall has ended up getting a total of 7.6 boards per game. The Chicago Sky come into this game with a 4-7 record overall, which puts them in 5th place in the Eastern Conference standings. Even though the Chicago Sky have struggled, they are playing better as of late, winning 2 games in a row. In the last game against the Indiana Fever, the Sky were able to win by 4 points, but that wasn't enough to cover the spread. The Chicago Sky are averaging 78 points per game, while their defense is giving up 78 points per game. Chicago is shooting 39.4% from the field and 33.5% from behind the 3-point line. Candace Parker has played the last few games and she is averaging 13 points per game. Kahleah Copper is also averaging 14.2 points while shooting 40% from the field. the Lynx are coming here after taking down the Los Angeles Sparks. The Lynx were able to get the win by a score of 80-64 in what ended up being a very impressive win for the Minnesota team. The Minnesota team moved to a 4-5 record on the year after getting the win. On the other side of this matchup is the Minnesota Lynx, who sit in 5th place in the Western Conference standings with a 4-5 record overall. The Minnesota Lynx got out to a slow start to the season, but they are playing better as of late, winning 3 of their last 4 games. In the last game against the Los Angeles Sparks, the defense gave up only 64 points, and that was the difference as they won by 14 points. On the season, the Minnesota Lynx are averaging 80.7 points per game, while their defense is giving up 80.2 points per game. Sylvia Fowles has been the best player for the Lynx, averaging 16.8 points, 8.7 rebounds per game, and shooting 64.1% from the field. Sylvia Fowles has ended up leading the Lynx in the scoring with 16.8 points per game on 62.8% shooting. The passing leader for the Minnesota team is Crystal Dangerfield with 4 assists per game. Fowles leads the Lynx in rebounding as well with 8.7 boards per game. My betting advice for that game is to pick Minnesota Lynx -3. The New York Liberty look for their second consecutive victory when visiting the Las Vegas Aces on Tuesday. New York is 6-4 following an 85-83 victory over the Phoenix Mercury on Sunday. Bitnai Delaney was the leading scorer for New York with 23 points and added 10 assists. The victory snapped a 3-game losing streak for New York, and the Liberty are second in the Eastern Conference, 1.5 games behind first place Connecticut. The Las Vegas Aces come into this game with an 8-3 record overall, which puts them in second place in the WNBA standings. The Las Vegas Aces had some struggles early in the season, but they have really turned it around and they have won 3 games in a row. In the last game against the Dallas Wings, the offense was strong, putting up 85 points, and that led to the 7-point victory. On the season, the Las Vegas Aces are averaging 89.3 points, while their defense is giving up 79.9 points per game. A'ja Wilson has been the best player for Las Vegas, averaging 19.5 points while shooting 49.3% from the field. Liz Cambage has also been averaging 15.3 points while shooting over 60% from the Eiffel. Bitnai Delaney is the leading scorer for New York with an average of 20.8 points per game, while Natasha Howard is the second leading scorer and leading rebounder with averages of 14.5 points and 6.5 rebounds per. Sabrina Ionescu is the third leading scorer, second leading rebounder, and leader in assists with averages of 13.7 points, 6.4 rebounds, and 7.1 assists per game. New York has 5 players averaging double figures in scoring. Las Vegas looks for its 3rd consecutive victory when hosting New York on Tuesday. The Aces improved to 8-3 with an 85-78 victory over the Dallas Wings on Sunday. A'ja Wilson was the leading scorer for Las Vegas with 28 points and grabbed a team-high 14 rebounds. Las Vegas is second in the Western Conference standings, 1.5 games behind the first-place Seattle Storm. On the other side of this matchup is the New York Liberty, who comes into this game with a 6-4 record, which puts them in second place in the Eastern Conference. The New York Liberty got out to a fast start to the season, but coming into this game they have lost 3 of the last 4 games. The one win during that stretch did come in the last game against the Phoenix Mercury by 2 points. On the season, the New York Liberty are averaging 82 points per game, while their defense is giving up 84.5 points per game. A'ja Wilson is the leading scorer and second leading rebounder for Las Vegas with averages of 18.6 points and 8.0 rebounds per game. Liz Cambage is the second leading scorer and leading rebounder with averages of 15.4 points and 8.2 rebounds per game. Chelsea Gray is the leader in assists for Las Vegas with an average of 6.8 assists per game. My betting advice for that game is to pick New York Liberty +12. Good luck to all of you. That's it for this video. Stay tuned and stay safe for the next betting tips and advice.